My grind set is fucking crazy. My grind set is fucking insane. I'm so deep in this shit that literally I have made jerking off part of my Spanish immersion. I spent today listening to so many different podcasts in Spanish, and then at some point, it happens to the best of us. You get that feeling like you need to go do something. So I found something very creative. I found something very creative in order to solve this problem, to make it to where I can keep studying and also I can masturbate. I found very advanced techniques in order to get ChatGPT to write the kind of graded readers that I want it to write. Now, I'm not exactly going to reveal all of the ways that I do this, but needless to say, uh, I write things in a very creative way in order to make them just suggestive enough to get the robot to write the kind of story that I want it to write. And then I try to push it, nudge it as far as I can, adding a little bit more on top of that each time in order to see how far I can get. Sometimes, if I just literally put in the same thing that I put in before, it'll spit out the story that it would otherwise delete, and say, this content is not to be viewed on ChatGPT or whatever. Sometimes you can get it to say what you want it to say. And today, I read literally thousands of words. Like, I read basically a whole ass novella of just romance and erotica that ChatGPT wrote for me at a B1 level in Spanish. I wish I was joking. I wish I were just pulling your chain, but that is literally what I did today. I literally made gooning a part of my study routine, which is crazy, which is completely insane, but I did it. Um, I, I don't know. I mean, to be honest, it was a fairly, how do you say this? It was a fairly kind of vanilla and sweet story, of a man and his romance with his transgender girlfriend, because of course, and uh, it got the job done. After enough time, after I read it for long enough, it got the job done. That's all you need to know. Um, and and needless to say, I have taken I have taken the meaning of the phrase all Spanish all the time to the next level. I have taken it further than possibly anyone has ever taken it. I may actually be the only one who has done all Spanish all the time, that being, you know, a method of learning Spanish that doesn't actually require you to leave your house or live in the country, just full immersion from the inside. I may be the first person to have done that. Um, Probably not, but it's possible. But I may very well be the first person to literally create graded readers for themselves in the form of smut. Uh, when you're so addicted to the grind, when you're so addicted to the grind that you're literally reading graded readers of smut, I don't know. Uh, you're probably living in a strange world. You're probably living in a reality quite different from the rest of us, which is how I often feel about myself. I truly feel that I am experiencing the best kind of insanity. Uh, and I can't wait to read more. Even though AI is slop and nothing it produces is good, it is very good for making new graded readers when you need more variety, or when you need something immediate, like you don't want to search the web for new graded readers. It's right there. It's always right there, and it's always free. And if you're creative enough with it, you can make the graded readers really funny and really strange in ways that are just literally not possible with regular books. You know, when you buy a book, you have to basically depend on whatever the author thought was interesting. But of course, with this, you're not going to get anything that's well written, but you can get things that are very strange and also, you know, uh, let's just say sensual enough to get the job done. You know, if you're about that life. One of the prompts that I used in Grok recently, I asked it to write me like a story, like a hot, sensual story of like a guy and his girlfriend who just escaped from the South African genocide of whites in South Africa, which, by the way, is not happening. Like, that's not a real thing. It's just a right-wing conspiracy theory. But I wanted Grok, I wanted Grok to write me that kind of story, and I just put in more and more strange details about this reality they were living in, and yeah, I mean, it spat out something in B1 Spanish, and I read all of it. Um, it's fun. It's a very fun thing to do, and it gives you an opportunity to continue improving your Spanish, even when engaging in activities that are considered to be the most hedonistic, you know, activities that are the most associated with leisure, you can still turn them into work. You can still create opportunities to receive more input, which is what I did. Um, but you know, when you're learning a language, the actual quality of the content that you're consuming doesn't matter all that much if you're passionate about what you're doing. I would say it is preferable to consume content that is good and that interests you because, especially in the long term, that will help you continue to be motivated. But if you're motivated just by like how the language works or how much you like the language to begin with, you can consume a lot of stuff that's pretty bad and still enjoy it just because you know that you're improving in the language and you're spending time with it. This is my experience with a lot of Spanish content. You know, there's a lot of great content out there, but there's also a lot of bad content. And I find myself consuming a lot of both. And sometimes it is a direct result of my actions with ChatGPT or Grok or whatever. Um, and in both cases, I am continuing to learn, continuing to intuitively recognize more of the patterns in the language and develop a better reading comprehension or, you know, in the case of audio, listening comprehension. It's all very good. It is all very good. And it's in service of a good goal, one that I am completely and utterly obsessed with, uh, now even to the point of generating smut in my target language.